Welcome back to I Love You and I Like You.
With Mark and Kathleen.
We're finally back. We are in a new studio. If you are watching this on YouTube, you can already see that. We have a new backdrop for the podcast. It's looking pretty good. Main reason, we've had some life changes.
We moved.
Yeah.
Not too far, but we did move.
Moved down the road from where we were before. Different house, different layout.
Different city.
Better for our family. Closer to work. Although that doesn't matter at all right now because I'm working from home. And I'm in the same room that I work in all the time right now. So working out of my YouTube studio.
Yeah.
Not all bad. I like this space. It's been good.
Yeah.
And we're happy to be back. Kathleen's been very supportive.
Yeah. I've been excited to get back. It's been a little bit crazy.
Yeah.
I've been a little bit nervous to do a podcast during the pandemic. I don't know what you want to call it. COVID-19.
Yeah.
Coronavirus. The Rona.
The Rona. But something that keeps coming up is people are asking for this.
Yeah.
So, thank you to the people that have been watching, that have been listening. I actually posted an Oreo review to my YouTube channel last week, and one of the first comments to show up was from my cousin Scott. Shout out to Scott. Check out his channel, Back to Snack. He's on Twitch as well. But he said, I understand that the pandemic is going on, but please bring back I Love You and I Like You. We need a release. We need kind of a way to escape and not stress about stuff as much. And it's fun to listen to us. So we appreciate the positive comments. That's not the only one that we've gotten. We've had several in the past from family, friends, viewers of my channel. So we're back. And hopefully now that we're a little more settled, a little more established at our house.
Moved in.
Unpacked, moved in. This can be more of a regular thing.
Yeah.
Because I love it. It was one of my highlights of our week when we were doing it before. So
yep, me too.
We're excited to be here. Okay. Before I go too far into this, though, if you are watching on YouTube, please subscribe to this channel. Click the bell to be notified when we post new episodes. If you are listening on Spotify, Anchor, Apple Podcasts, anywhere else that you're listening to podcasts, follow us so that you can be notified or at least find us more easily when we post new episodes. Because we would love for this to be more of a dialogue. Post your questions in the comments below. Be a part of the conversation. Join the conversation.
Yeah, definitely.
Because that's fun. For me, it's, number one, my favorite thing is spending time with you.
Thanks.
Because I love you and I like you.
And I love you.
But, number two is definitely the community that we're building, the connections that we're making. And I like listening to our podcast. Fun. Yeah, I went back, truth be told, in the last few weeks. When we were moving in and stuff, I went back and I re-listened to every episode so far, and we did a pretty good job. You did that.
I remember you were listening to it, and you're like, I thought I'd listen to our podcast, and I was a little bit nervous. I wasn't sure how good we were, and we're awesome. Yeah. We should do it again.
I listened to a lot of podcasts. Yeah. I've talked about several of them in the past, but we are pretty good.
Not to toot our own horn.
No, I'll toot our own horn all day long. No, I think we're legitimately pretty good. So thank you to those of you who are listening again. We really appreciate it. It's validating because I like doing this anyway. But it's nice that other people enjoy it or appreciate it. Because sometimes it just seems like we're just talking to each other.
I mean, we can talk to each other all day. Why put a camera up if people aren't really that interested,
right? Exactly. So thank you again. But, one of the things that we have talked a lot about extensively for the last couple of months, as I'm sure a lot of you have, is all the craziness that's going on in the world. The action or inaction of different governments and, how the media is covering things.
How the community's responding.
Et cetera. And we do not want to dive into the what could have, should have happened.
We've exhausted that between the two of us.
Yeah, yeah. We did not have a camera on us for those conversations, and that's probably for the better in some cases.
It was very long-winded from both of us.
Yeah, just, late at night when we're both stressed about what's going on, not the best situation, but things have kind of, become a new normal. We've gotten used to what our new lifestyle is. And so at the outset, for all of you listening or watching, we hope that you're safe. We hope that you and your family are well, wherever you are. I know that for some people, this is literally life-altering, and they've lost family members or loved ones. Fortunately, we're not in that situation. I don't even know anyone personally who's
You haven't lost
had to
your
deal
job.
with this.
You've maintained you've kept your job.
And that's one of the main things that we've kind of come back to over and over, is that this isn't just a physical health issue. This is a mental health issue.
Yeah,
it's a huge strain on the economy worldwide. People are losing their jobs. I'm connected to a lot of people on LinkedIn, and I'm seeing people, surprised by layoffs and, looking for new work and things like that. So we feel very fortunate, and we realize and recognize that we're in a fortunate situation right now.
Yeah.
So we're grateful for that. And we want you to know that we are literally praying for you every day. And, our hopes and best wishes are with everyone that we get through this quickly, right? And I've done a lot of the talking, but that's going to change.
That's okay. No.
No, because one of the things we talked about is how do we, kind of like in my Oreo review that I just posted, how do you go about recording and posting an Oreo review in the middle of a pandemic? Like, it seems like, don't we have more important
Seems like
things?
it's trivializing the craziness that's going on.
Yeah, almost like, how dare you go on with life as normal when...
Normal.
Right,
Yeah.
when for so many people it's not, right? And I've talked about this on the podcast before, but when we went through a really hard time when our daughter was in the NICU because she was born premature and all of those things, I had a moment where someone cut me off in traffic, and I got really upset. And I said, don't they know what I'm going through? And almost as soon as I said that, almost like an audible voice from God, it was, no, they have no idea.
Yeah.
And so I recognize that, life is not normal for some people right now. It's not normal for us, and we've had it better than most.
Yeah.
But I also think it's important to, highlight some of the positive and good things that are happening, talk about our experiences, because we can share experiences, and hopefully you come away from this feeling like you're not alone, and everyone's going through something. And that's really the point of the podcast.
Well, and it's interesting when you said, you brought up that, don't they know what I'm going through? Because there have been a few instances while I'm grocery shopping that people have just been, honestly, kind of, it's like they lost the ability to be civil human beings. And, well, not even just empathetic, but like...
Just civility.
Just civility. Honestly, really just civility.
So there was one you told me about with the lady with the tissues. So
there were multiple instances that I've had run-ins with people. And
everyone's nerves are shot, and everyone's on
And that's the thing that so the one with the tissues, I was in Madeline, our daughter. Wasn't it about just a week before? It was
like a week or two before everything just shut down. The NBA got canceled, and the NCAA March Madness.
It was still in the news that this was going on, that this was happening, but it was just ramping up.
It wasn't super serious yet, in the United States at least.
Right.
But Madeline got sick.
Madeline got sick. And I never bring her in to the pediatrician unless she is really, really sick. And this time, she wasn't really, really sick. I just felt like I needed to go bring her in.
She had high fever.
She had a fever, but I know how to treat a fever. After 10 years of kids, you know how to treat a fever. But I did bring her in. They tested her, and she tested positive for the flu. She just had influenza B. And like a day later, I got the same thing. So
and you were both sick for a good week and a half almost.
And influenza B is the more minor flu, and it was not fun. It didn't feel very minor. But we went through so many tissues just being sick. Like, just being legitimately sick. Like,
literally plastic bags full of them.
We needed tissues. It was a real thing. So the week after I got better, we were still, Madeline and I were better. We were pretty much back to normal, but we still needed tissues. I mean, there's some symptoms that just keep going, So I was at CVS, and of course, there were no tissues to be had at Walmart, Target, Costco.
This is the same, like, toilet paper panic that everyone was going through.
It was right when it happened. At the very beginning.
So, hey, toilet paper's out. I could use a tissue. I can use napkins. Everyone was just buying everything.
They were just gone off the shelves.
And it was before stores started rationing things, too. So people were literally buying 50 or 100 of whatever they're... Yeah. Anyway.
No, you're exactly right.
That's some context for the time frame.
You're exactly right. And so I was in CVS Pharmacy. And I had like 4 or 5 boxes of tissues. Just the... single box, the little square ones.
The small ones you have on a desk or something.
Yeah, the puffs. Puffs with lotion. They're the best.
They really are, actually.
They really are the best.
That's a Mark Review's endorsement. Puffs with lotion with aloe or whatever.
They're amazing.
They're good.
Anyway, so I was in line and I was putting up the tissues on the counter, and the lady behind me said, you know, you should really leave some of those behind for people who actually are sick and for people who actually need them.
Super judgmental. Holy cow.
And I was like, actually, my daughter and I are sick. We've been sick and we do need them. So we all need to take a beat and take a step back and be careful before we judge people.
Which, like, good job.
I mean,
good job to you.
Right, like,
because so many times in my life, and when I'm in a situation like that, I get like really annoyed, and then I'll just go along with whatever they want, and I would like leave them behind to spite them somehow, even though I need them, and then after the fact, I'll say, "Oh, that's what I should have said."
Well, like, usually I don't.
I'm not good in the moment, you know.
I'm often not good in the moment, but at that point, I was pretty good in the moment.
Yeah.
Now, what happened so I was tying this in too. I didn't think about, she said, she's like, my family's sick. I'm like, okay, you know what? When your family's sick and you're trying to find things to help your family, you're probably stressed out. And you're probably not thinking about the lady in front of you buying all the tissues, you know?
Yeah.
And so just to put it in that context of, don't they know, like, why... We all need to take a step back. So, yes, she needed to take a beat and not be as judgmental. However, and I mean, maybe she probably needed to be told. I don't know. I felt like I was very much in the right for telling her that.
Yeah.
But taking a step back and thinking, you know what? She's under immense stress.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, it goes both ways. I can be a little bit more understanding and give people more of the benefit of the doubt if they are more stressed. Now, the follow-up to that story, which is pretty amazing, is right as she was walking outside, I thought, you know what? I am sure that if I need one more, I can find another one somewhere else.
Yeah.
Because, when was it? A few days before that or something like that? Or...
You're talking about the lady at Walmart?
Yeah, the lady at Walmart.
That was after. So
are you sure that was after?
I think so, yeah. Finish this.
I'm pretty sure it was before.
So what did you do?
Okay, so
as the lady was
what
leaving?
I did as the lady was leaving is I ran out. I said, you know what? I don't need all of these. You have a family that's sick. Here, why don't you take one of the boxes of tissues? And, you know, after all of this pandemic is over, we're all going to look back and be like, really? Tissues, people?
Yeah, it's not worth it.
But it's a huge deal when they're all gone, and you cannot find any anywhere, and you need it.
It's an emotional issue, literally, at that point, more than physical, because it's, what if I can never find tissues again, and, you know, my family gets this, and they're going to need them, and...
Right. So I definitely needed them. Madeline and I needed them.
Yeah.
But, you know, I said, it was kind of twofold. I wanted to show my kids who were with me. So my kids were with me.
Yeah.
And I wanted to show them, so I went out, I ran out and I said, here, have a box. And she's like, oh, are you sure? I really actually don't need them as much as I thought I did. I'm like, no, really, take the box of tissues. And my oldest son said, Mom, that was really nice. Why did you do that? I said, because when we spread a little bit of happiness, when we give people a little bit more benefit of the doubt, I worded it much better when I told them. But it came down to when we share with other people, it helps change their mindset to them wanting to share and pay it forward.
Yeah.
So really you're putting out positive things into the universe that
call
keeps
it
spreading.
Vibes, call it karma.
And it's a
whatever.
ripple effect.
Absolutely.
You know? So I told him that. I didn't think, it was more of a spur of the moment decision. Yeah. I didn't premeditate this plan of how to teach my kid. It just happened.
Yeah.
But
I think that's the result of us being very intentional about how we're parenting our kids too. Like we want them to see us helping others, serving others, being charitable.
And because heaven knows they've seen us when we're at our worst.
Well, we have to balance it out. A little.
But you're right. If there's an opportunity to teach, we will teach.
Yeah.
So if there's an opportunity for me if he asks, Mom, why did you do that? I could have said, oh, because she needed it.
Yeah.
But I wanted to lay down the higher lesson.
Yeah, explain the reasons
the ripple effect
it.
when you do put good things out there. Now, the reason that I remember thinking the incident in Walmart happened before is because it's part of what made me think of doing this.
Okay, so this is a different story.
So this happened before, a few days before.
Or sometime around then.
Sometime around.
I think it was after, but it may have been before. But
well, because I remember thinking, if she could do this, I can do this.
Yeah. Was this the trip where I took you to Walmart for the first time since everything went crazy?
Yes.
So I think it was a Thursday, and history will bear this out, but I think it was a Thursday when the NBA canceled all their games, NCAA tournament, NHL, schools closed or announced soft closures, like everything happened pretty much in a 24-hour time frame, and it literally felt like the sky was falling. Okay, not literally, but it figuratively felt like the sky was falling. And then I went to Walmart that day and got like a bunch of staples.
Well, and you sent me pictures all throughout the week because you had. I
went a couple times. I was going pretty much every day.
Yeah.
You and Madeline were still sick.
Yeah.
And I was taking our son Jeff to and from school.
Yeah.
And when I was bringing him home, we were stopping at Walmart and grabbing staples.
Whatever
and it was before, it was kind of like the leading edge, the crest of the wave before things really got crazy. And then I think we went with you on a Saturday. So it really only been 2, maybe 3 days of this panic buying situation.
Well, and you had sent me pictures. My mom had sent me pictures. Like,
and you didn't believe it.
Well, it's different to see it on a tiny little phone.
And that's fair.
Than to be immersed in. Okay, so I had heard from everybody, it's crazy. Yep. The stores, everything's off the shelves. And it's like, oh, it can't be that bad. Oh, it's not that bad, I mean.
I'll drop some photos in the YouTube video here that I took during this time frame at the Walmart. It was kind of crazy.
So when I went for the first time, I was like, I feel like I'm in a movie.
She looked dazed.
I was dazed.
That's how I would describe it. You were walking through the store just kind of looking around like, where am I? What is this?
It was weird. Well, and what's weird is the heaviness in the air. Like, not even just the shelves were empty, but like people weren't talking to each other. Everyone was so quiet. It was almost like there had been a funeral in Walmart. Like, it was not a happy one.
It's a good description. It felt like a funeral for someone who died way too soon.
Yes, for someone who died way too soon. That's what it felt like.
Well, because it was an unexpected, traumatic event, basically. So, so we looked for a bunch of stuff while we were there at Walmart. And one of them was tissues. We were just looking to see if they had more.
Tissues, and they were out. They didn't
we're not looking for hundreds. We're just looking for
like normal amount of tissues.
And there was nothing. So we get to the self-checkout. Yeah. And Kathleen, as she does, strikes up a conversation with the stranger in line behind us.
It's true.
And this lady had a pregnant daughter who was here in Utah.
Yep.
She was from Colorado and had literally driven from Colorado to Utah to bring her daughter toilet paper.
Yep.
Because she had some in Colorado and her daughter couldn't find any here. So first of all, this is a good mom. She's a good person. She's looking out for her daughter. But through the course of the conversation, we noticed she had in her cart, I noticed that she had 6 boxes of tissues, like those 2 packs. She had 3 of them.
She asked if we needed it. She's like, "Oh, did you find everything you needed?" I'm like, "Well, almost everything. We came to look for tissues and we didn't find those, but we're fine. We have everything that we need, And she said, "No, here, take one of my boxes of tissues." And after seeing the shelves at Walmart, I was like, "Are you sure? These are like gold."
Yeah. Yeah.
And she said, "Yes, take them."
And how did that impact your overall feeling from like that somber funeral-like situation to this act of charity from this lady?
It made me feel and recognize that, you know what? there are still good people in the world. And look at what one action does, and look at the ripple effect. Because after that, I didn't give that lady at CVS the box of tissues, like, just to, rub it in her nose or anything. I gave it to her because I remembered that incident. Okay. And I remembered how it made me feel. It was before. Okay. And I remembered how it made me feel like I can go forward and do something good.
Yeah. Good.
And then hopefully she can take that and and it doesn't matter if she does or doesn't, but it changed a person. It changed a day in the life of a person. And that's what I explained to Jeff is, remember when that lady gave us tissues in the store, and remember how it made us feel? Well, we can do that for her. We can do that for other people. And hopefully she can pass it on and move forward. And it just changes the whole perspective of how you see things.
And that, I think, if you take nothing else away from this episode of our podcast, it would be that if you're feeling stressed, if you're feeling down, if you're having a hard time, maybe you've lost a job, maybe a family member's sick and you're stressed out. Yeah. My experience has been the way that you can feel better about things in general is look for the good that others are doing and try to be a part of that good and help and serve other people. I'll give you 2 quick examples from my times at Walmart. Man, it sounds like we live there, but I just know where things are there, and I know I can get what I need usually at Walmart. So I'm at Walmart during the panic buying with my son, and there's a woman in one of the electric carts, the ones you just sit in and turn the handle and it drives, right? The ones I played on when I was a teenager. Anyway, she clearly kind of needed help, and I always am kind of aware of those people, like, because it's hard for them to get things off of tall shelves, right? And I'm 6'2", 6'3" after a good night's sleep, so I can reach up pretty high, and I saw this lady stretching for bottles of distilled water. And they're up high, and typically people who want distilled water want it for some kind of medical device, a humidifier, whatever. Yeah. So she was trying to get them down. I think she had one in her cart, but it was clear that she had to kind of step out of the cart to get it. Yeah. And she was clearly, physically limited in her abilities, disabled potentially, but it was hard for her. Yeah. And I just stopped pushing my cart, and I had my son with me, and I wasn't trying to teach him. This is just what I try to do. And I said, hey, do you want some help with that? She said, oh, that would be so nice of you. And she only wanted 2 more, so I got her 2 more gallons of distilled water, and she was really grateful, and that was about it. I just said, good luck with everything. It's kind of crazy. Yeah. We connected over that, and I walked away. And my son said independently, I wasn't like, see, son, that's how you help. No.
I'm amazing. Yeah.
He said, wow, that was really nice. She really needed help. That's right? Cool. And she did. Yeah. She really needed help. That's cool that he noticed that he, Yeah. So here's my other example, and we're getting close on time, actually, already. But I was at Walmart. This is later in the evening. I think I was tired of trying to go in the middle of the day and finding nothing there because everyone was there. Yeah. Right. So I went later in the evening. Okay, maybe they had some time to restock. I think it was 8 p.m. or so, 8:30. Yeah. And I went all through looking for things like distilled water that were now gone. And I wound up in the produce section, and I saw that they had just opened a pallet of potatoes. Yeah. Right. And I thought, oh, potatoes, like that's a staple. That's something that, like, if you have no other food, you can at least boil a potato.
Live on potatoes.
Right? Yeah. So I grabbed a 20-pound bag, and I thought, oh, you know what? I'm going to get a second 20-pound bag because I'm sure that there's someone who might need it, and then I can share some potatoes. Right, because this is like the mentality.
But you were thinking someone in your neighborhood, like somebody. Yeah, you were willing to buy them for yourself.
Right, I was thinking like family member, neighbor, like someone immediately related to me, right, that I would encounter anyway. That's like, hey, does anyone have any potatoes? Yeah,
you want to have enough to give to your family because you know that if someone needs them, you'll be like, yes, please take them.
Right. So. So I literally had the thought, like, I'll buy these in case there's someone who needs them. Yeah. Right. I go to it was literally the last thing, like, on my way out the store, because I usually start in the back and work my way forward to perishables. Yeah. That's just how I do things.
You're very organized.
I know. So I get to the self-checkout, and I check out, and I pay for them, and the potatoes are on the bottom of my cart, and they're not in bags because they're just big bags of potatoes. So I'm walking out, and there's a man sitting there on the bench outside the bathrooms waiting for someone, clearly. And as I'm walking past him, totally oblivious to him sitting there, he says, "Oh, man, where'd you find potatoes? I looked everywhere for potatoes. I had to get the instant kind."
Yeah.
And I said, "Oh, you know, they just set them out. There are probably some more over there." But even by the time I had gotten there, they were dwindling pretty quickly. Gone, yeah. So there was a chance they wouldn't be there. And he said, "Oh, yeah, maybe we'll go take a look." So I walked past him. I'm ashamed to say at first, I walked past him like on my way out the door, and I thought,
"These are my potatoes."
I thought, wait a second. I got them for someone who might need them. He needs them.
Well, and he couldn't go because he was waiting for his daughter.
Yeah,
who was going
his daughter was going to the bathroom.
He had to, he couldn't run back
Right, he was stuck, and they may have been gone by the time he got there. So I stopped, and I turned around and went back to him, and I said, "You know what? Why don't you take these potatoes?" And a 20-pound bag of potatoes is like $7 or something. And
you know what? Nobody needed them.
That's not what it is.
But nobody needed them at our house or our family or our neighbors. Nobody needed them.
No one else has asked for potatoes.
And if we had both bags, they probably would have gone bad.
Yeah.
I mean.
So I handed this guy these potatoes. I put them under his cart, and he said, "Oh, thank you so much." And we kind of started to connect, and we were talking, and I learned that he has a roadside service business that he just uses his personal van, and he drives around if someone is broken down, he helps them fix up their car. So he's someone who's kind of, his business is helping other people and putting good into the world. But I learned that already in maybe the first week of what was going on, his business was down about 80%, and he was super stressed about what he was going to do for work, where he was going to get money, how he was going to feed his family. And it was really humbling in that moment to realize, oh man, like that could be me. I'm so glad that I had the feeling that I should get these potatoes, that I did get them, that I gave them to him to share. We connected in that way, and I ended up pulling a Kathleen and talking to a total stranger for 15 minutes while we waited for his daughter. No, super uncomfortable for me normally, but seeing the humanity and having my faith in humanity in general kind of restored through these experiences.
Things differently.
Yeah, because there's still an opportunity to help and bless other people. And, maybe now more than ever is a chance for us to love each other and like each other more. And look for opportunities to serve other people, whether that's making masks or, dropping meals off to people, or finding your favorite small business and buying a gift card,
like, going grocery shopping for others. I know that a lot of people in our neighborhood, they've been putting out on the Facebook group.
If anyone needs me to get something for them, let me know. So there are opportunities all around you to kind of get outside your own mind and the stress and the depression and anxiety about this situation, and look for ways to help other people.
And I do think it's important to recognize and understand that it's okay to be depressed about this. It's okay it's normal. I mean, we give you these examples of how we've done really great things because we felt like we should, and because we like to help others.
We're still super stressed through all of that.
And there are people who have acted kind of weird or like jerks in grocery stores, and I'll come home and rant to Mark about it, and I'm not like, oh, they were probably very stressed.
It's not all sunshine.
No, I'll come home and be like, what was wrong with that person? Why would they do such a stupid thing? Which isn't necessarily the nicest thing to do, but at the same time, I'm human. So I think to recognize that there are going to be ups and downs. It's like a roller coaster, and it's going to be, you can see all the good in the world, and the next day, it might just be really hard to see all the good in the world.
Not every day is going to be a good day.
And that's okay.
And our recording just cut off because I have a 30-minute recording limit on my camera.
We just like to talk a lot.
I know. We're trying to keep our podcast episodes to 30 minutes. It's so hard.
It's so hard.
Our average conversation is like an hour and a half when we get deep into it. So 30 minutes is a test, but
it is.
You were saying it's okay to be down about
It's okay to be down. It's okay to be annoyed by the neighbor who might, you don't know, maybe their extended relative is immune compromised or has cancer and is going through treatments. I mean, we have no idea what's going on. And sometimes we get annoyed by that, by the actions that people take.
Right. Without knowing the context.
And it's okay to be annoyed. We're human.
Yeah.
We're not perfect.
One of my favorite managers of all time, his quote, I don't know if this was something he created or he just quoted it all the time. And I think I've shared this on this podcast before, but he always said, all behavior makes sense in context.
I love that.
Right. So it's not like, whoa, where did that come from? There's a reason behind it. So then that's so easy to say for other people, but I feel like as a society, we need to do that more with ourselves. Yeah. Like, it's be more gentle with yourself, especially in a time like this. And I mean, you're doing your best. Yeah. And to expect expect to just pull yourself up and create a life that's normal. I don't know that that's being extremely gentle with yourself unless that really does help you. Yeah. But just... And that's a whole other topic that we don't have to get into on this episode. But, if you're stressing about how to provide, the level of education that your kids were getting in the public schools and you want them working hard 6 hours a day, you're probably doing it wrong. Take a moment, realize that your kids are super stressed out too. And it's okay. Because guess what? Every kid, all of their peers, everyone's in the same situation. Yeah. And do you think that they're all going to be ready to take the ACT or the SAT? I almost said, go to the park. And I'm like, oh, wait. Yeah. No, but we have gotten out on bike rides as a family a lot more. You're doing yoga with our daughter. Yeah. We're baking things and, we're spending time playing games with our kids and coloring in coloring books and watching family movies. And on those days, to be perfectly honest, we don't get to schoolwork a lot of times. And it's okay. I feel like if we can help our kids understand the kinds of principles that we've been talking about in this, that some of those other things will sort themselves out. And, our kids aren't stupid. They're really smart. They're smart kids. They're pretty resilient. And, this will end. At some point, this is going to end. Life will return to something more normal. Even though it feels like it's just going to be forever. Yeah. It will end. And they'll get caught up. And we'll get the weeds pulled or I don't know. I might never get the laundry done all the time. That might just never happen. You did a great job this week. No. That's true. Laundry get dishes. I might never get the dishes always done. No, but you've been making more home-cooked meals. We've been spending more time as a family. To be perfectly honest, the things that I wanted to do more of before this happened, I'm getting to. Yeah. Well, and I think this is an opportunity in general to kind of reset expectations and realize, okay, all of the things that are considered quote unquote non-essential have been stripped away, right? And even some of the things that we consider essential, like school or a job, or those kinds of things are stripped away and we're left with family, basically. And honestly, I've always wanted to get out on bike rides with the kids and you, and it just never happened because we were always so busy or too tired and I mean my parents are going out walking every day. Like that's not something they used to do. My family, not this family, but my parents and siblings have gone on drives up the canyon and gone on walks around lakes. Which they used to do, but probably not as often. They haven't done it for a long time and they're doing it again. So one of my favorite, I have posted literally hundreds of memes about this situation. Which are awesome. And a lot of that has been kind of a coping mechanism for me, some of that stress release. But my favorite one probably out of all of them was something like, when all of this is over and life returns to normal, whatever normal looks like at that point, we may want to reconsider which things we invite back in. Yeah. Something along those lines. And I think that's important because I don't think I'm going to worry as much about, some of the things that seemed so important a month or two ago. Right. Don't really matter that much. Am I looking forward to going back to the movie theater as a family? Yeah. Oh, yeah. That would be fun, or going to a restaurant and sitting down inside instead of having someone hand it to me through the window. That would be nice. Those kinds social of basic obligations. Things. Yeah. I mean, so another one I saw said, I'm looking forward to being able to say no to people on my own terms. Yeah. right?
Yeah.
So when someone invites you to a party and you're like, I don't really want to go, but then don't.
Although I feel like we go when we want to and we don't when we don't.
We've always been pretty good at that.
We like to, I mean.
But that's the idea.
But it's the idea,
I think I'm hopeful because I've seen lots of positive signs. Things like John Krasinski launching Some Good News.
Which is awesome, by the way.
Which is amazing. It's awesome. Yeah. Go check it out. I'll put a link in the description below because it's really that good.
Yeah.
Or, people showing appreciation for healthcare workers, sewing masks for first responders, those kinds of things. I'm hopeful that the good and the caring that we've sort of rediscovered will continue, and that people will have a reset in their priorities, so that we don't forget about each other, so that more of this love and like of each other can return. Yeah. It's been really nice to feel like politics is secondary, finally, for the first time in 10 years. Just things in general aren't as divisive as they were. Mm-hmm. And in a lot of ways it feels kind of like post 9/11, where the country kind of came together. We're all going through something. There are good and bad elements of both of those situations, but I've loved the good things.
It's funny when this all started happening. I'm like, it's easy to compare our nation to other nations and be like, why aren't we singing from our balconies? But I thought about it. I'm like, after we go through our crazy panic shopping and like the me mentality as Americans in general,
right,
we do pull together really well. Yeah. I mean, amazing things happen.
So another quick case in point, we moved into this neighborhood like 2 weeks before all of this happened. Yeah. And our neighborhood banded together, and they put together a parade for some of the returning missionaries in this neighborhood, and also for us and another house that had new people who had moved in. And we stood out on our front lawn waving as they drove by and honked their horns and played drums and handed us a plate of cookies and
things. I was really nervous. I wasn't sure what to expect. I'm like, are we just supposed to stand there while they all stare at us?
I felt like we were on display at a zoo or something.
But to be perfectly honest, when they came,
it was so welcoming.
Yeah. And so, like you said, there were drums, there were people blew bubbles,
streamers and balloons and flags and signs. And welcome really to the neighborhood. We love you guys. And I was like, where did we move to? But it was a sign of the times. It wasn't necessarily, and I believe this neighborhood would probably do something similar, but they had to get creative, right?
And it was overwhelming.
It was awesome.
how much it meant. Like, one of our kids, I can't remember which one it was. Mm-hmm. I think it might have been Jeff. He was having an awful day that day. Just a really hard day for no reason necessarily. It was just one of those
lots of reasons. But you can't point to one. He missed his friends. His school routine was disrupted. I suspect
it's the pandemic in general. Yeah. What it had done and how
stress and uncertainty. And he's pretty perceptive for how we're feeling too.
And he's like, I have no friends, because he couldn't see his friends anymore. They couldn't come. It's like, I have no friends. I don't know what. And he had just moved into a new place and everything had changed, and so he's kind of in limbo. And when they came, I'm gonna get all choked up now.
Good. If any of them see this, they'll be glad.
Well, to you and me, it was overwhelming, but it was also
it was a nice gesture.
It was a nice gesture. We were so grateful and we felt really welcomed, but
I didn't need it.
Right. We didn't. Yeah. We would have been okay if it didn't happen. Right. We felt fine. But for him, he came in the house and he's like, we have so many friends here.
Yeah.
And I don't know why I'm getting all choked up here. But
we don't even really know them because we're so new. But that kind of connection, me with that guy with the potatoes at Walmart, I feel like I have a friend. If I saw him again, I'd say hi and ask him how he's doing, You talked to some stranger at a different Walmart the other day.
I talk to strangers all the time.
But this time you exchanged contact information and said, let's hang out when all this is over.
It was interesting because both of us, the husband, I heard him kind of recommend his wife, you guys should swap numbers. And she pretended like she didn't really hear. And I kind of pretended like I didn't really hear, because you don't swap numbers with a stranger in Walmart. Right. But then we met up at the checkout line.
Yeah.
And I was like, why didn't we? The point being, she was like, hey, I meant to ask you, do you want to swap numbers? We can do a game night together or something after this is all over.
Yeah.
Like, you know what? That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Let's do it. I hope we do it. I don't know if we will, but
I don't know that it matters if we do or not. Yeah. But I think the fact that we're back to a simpler state in society in general, where a level of humanity, a level of civility, a level of openness has sort of returned. Some of those divisions that seemed so important not that long ago and don't seem as important, right? And you can make friends more quickly. And our son perceived that he had hundreds of friends because they drove by and waved to us.
Which is amazing.
That took 10 minutes out of their day, and it made a huge difference.
I suspect that was more just an answer to a prayer.
Yeah.
Because they didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that it would make that big of a difference. Yeah. But to him, like, he felt it, and it's what he needed. And, you know, God's looking out for us. He's looking out for all of us.
Yeah. So go be that person for someone else. Yeah. Find a way to give back, to serve others. There's simple things happening all around you all the time. Our neighborhood on Thursday, which is tomorrow on the day that we're recording this, told people to hang a flag in their front window. And then people can drive around and guess what flag it is and where it's from. And there's a master spreadsheet, and they're going to have some contest to see who knows the most flags or something. You know, there are little things.
Our old neighborhood did a chalk the walk, didn't they?
Yeah, chalk the walk. Go write inspirational messages like, we've got this, you know, you're amazing, or whatever, on people's sidewalk, on their driveway. The example that I saw online was an elderly neighbor who basically all they can do is walk to the end of their driveway and back to their house for exercise and to get out of the house. And you definitely want to stay, you know, physically distant from them. Yeah. A bunch of kids in the neighborhood wrote messages all over their driveway for them. Cool. You know, there are simple ways all around you, and now more than ever, I feel totally validated in the theme of our podcast, which is loving other people and liking other people,
including
finding
yourself.
Connections, and
realizing that doesn't mean that we're going to be perfectly nice all the time.
Yeah, well, that's okay.
And
we're learning and growing, you know? and all behavior makes sense in context. So if you're having a really hard time with this, chances are good you have a family member who is at risk. Maybe they're dealing with this right now. Maybe you're worried about job prospects. Maybe you, like two of my siblings, are graduating college right now and entering a really uncertain world. Those kinds of things are realities for a lot of people. Yeah. And
be gentle with yourself.
Be gentle with yourself. There's the thoughts you're having and the behaviors that you're exhibiting. There's probably a reason behind it. And take some time. Get enough sleep. Yeah. Eat well. Find ways to connect with people. You can be physically distant, but you don't have to be socially distant. I wish we had society, as a society, I wish we had zeroed in on physical distancing, not social distancing. Oh, yeah, I love that. Because there's a difference. Actually. There is a true difference. You can be physically distant, but you can jump on FaceTime, you can have a Zoom call, you can have a game night or a happy hour with a video conference and still spend time with people and build connections, probably more than before, because we have a shared experience now that we're all going through. That's true.
And, you know, it will end.
Yep.
I mean, God's looking out for us.
Yep.
So
we'll all be okay. We're in this together. Yep. And one of the best ways to spread and share love and joy is to tell other people about this podcast, because there's plenty of entertainment in it. There's inspiration. Hopefully you got something from this. One last plug for another channel. We talked about Some Good News by John Krasinski, which is amazing. Go check out Steve Hartman. He works for CBS Evening News, and his normal job is once a week on Friday nights, their last newscast of the week. He has some kind of inspirational story. But during this downtime, he, like so many other people, has been giving of his time to provide, education alternatives for kids that are stuck at home. And he has started a course called Kindness 101. And it's a character course, basically. And he did 4 episodes first week.
Is it geared toward kids?
Geared toward kids. Yeah. And he's done an episode each week since then on Mondays. Go check out his stuff. It restored my faith in humanity for years. Once a week for years, it's kept me positive and happy. It's even better in a time like this. So I'll leave a link to that and some good news in the description below. If you're watching this on YouTube, go check it out. Share this podcast with someone in your life who could use it. And thank you for watching. I love you and I like you.
Yep.
I love you.
And I like you and I love you.
And I like you. And we love you and we like you. Thanks for tuning in.